going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. In today's video, we're going to be covering superstar abilities within Madden 24 and which ones are the best, starting with the quarterback's position in today's video. A lot of people have requested this video over the years. It's not something that I wanted to touch on right away when abilities came out because I was not confident in which ones were the best. There is more than enough time now since they've come out for me to give my opinions on these. There are some very overpowered abilities within Madden 24 and Maddens before this that can absolutely break the game in a positive or a negative way depending on how you're looking at it. So talking about the quarterback position, we're going to talk about both superstar abilities and XFactor abilities and get into which ones I like and which ones I think are the best, because there are some that are very good that I don't necessarily use, and there are some that I use that aren't necessarily the best abilities. So first and foremost, let's talk about XFactor abilities on quarterbacks. When we look at XFactor abilities, we have a choice between Gambit, Pro Reads, Blitz Radar, Bazooka, Run and Gun, Escape Artist, Omaha, Brick Wall, Freight Train, First One Free, Truz, and Dots. Now, when I look at quarterback abilities, I'm specifically looking at abilities that are going to change the accuracy of my throws. In my personal opinion, those are going to be the most effective abilities. Now, there are some abilities that can be extremely useful, such as Blitz Radar, which is going to make it so that when you enter the zone, all blitzing linebackers and defensive backs are highlighted. However, this can be bluffed. And then I like an ability like Omaha, but again, it doesn't improve your accuracy or anything necessarily. This is going to make it so that you have complete vision of the secondary's defensive coverage before the snap. That can be used to great effect as well. That is one of, if not the most powerful abilities that you can have on your quarterback, but it's not necessarily going to make you play better. You still have to make the right decisions, you still have to be accurate with your passes, and you still have to call the right plays against the defense that you're going up against. So I don't necessarily hold this as something I'm going to use all the time. I do like to use it from time to time, and a lot of realistic leagues oftentimes actually ban the use of Omaha at the quarterback position. One thing that I really like to point out with these abilities is the cost effectiveness of them. So for something like Omaha, you simply have to make consecutive passes for 5+ yards in the air. For Blitz Radar, you have to scramble for 10+ yards. So that would require you to have a quarterback that has scramble capabilities. And for some of these, you have to complete 30+ yard passes in the air, which can be incredibly difficult. For a lot of them, it's going to be things like make those consecutive 5-yard passes. There's rush for 10 yards, rush for 10 yards, rush for 1+ yards for Truz. There's going to be make consecutive 5-yard passes for most of them. And so we have to, again, like I said, weigh the cost benefit of those. We can take a look at an ability like Bazooka, which is going to make sure that you have 15+ extra yards on your throw distance on those deep passes when you enter the zone, but you have to first complete 30+ yard passes in the air, which can in and of itself be very difficult, which can limit the availability of you ever even entering the zone and having availability to utilize these abilities. And then you have an ability like Truz, which is going to have probably the easiest earned ability, rush for 1+ yards, but this is just going to make it so that no tackles made against them will result in a fumble. So again, you'd have to be running quite a bit with your quarterback for this to be worthwhile, and you'd have to be not sliding, not ducking out of bounds, and those types of things. So while it's easy to get to and it's easy to turn on, it is not necessarily the most beneficial thing in the world. It can be useful if you're scrambling a lot and running a lot with the quarterback, but again, we have to weigh the cost benefit here. There are better benefits that we can achieve through these abilities that are going to help us quite a bit more. So for example, if you want to go with an ability that is going to be run oriented, I would go with Escape Artist, which is going to boost your scramble speed as a quarterback. And you just have to scramble for 10+ yards to activate this. That is a really good cost benefit. If you can get one good scramble off, you're going to activate Escape Artist, and then you're going to be untouchable as a quarterback running around there behind the O-line because of how fast you're you're going to be. That is considering you hopefully have a quarterback that has really solid athleticism to begin with. So escape artist, if you're looking for something that is going to be more for a mobile style of quarterback, is what I would be taking a look at. Or better yet, you can even take a look at run and gun, which is going to give you perfect accuracy while throwing on the run. Another really effective capability there, and probably, in my opinion, easier to access, but a better benefit than even escape artist, where we're getting perfect accuracy anytime we're rolling out of the pocket, we're on the run, whatever it might be. That's giving us perfect accuracy. That's a huge bonus, because that's a lot of passes, especially when you have a mobile quarterback and you only have to make consecutive 5+ yard passes in the air, which is gonna be most of your passes within the game. Pro reads is intriguing because whenever you enter this zone, the first open receiver will be highlighted for you. I don't know that might be useful for some people, but not necessarily in my personal opinion. You should be able to recognize those open receivers regardless, so you're not really getting any particular benefit for it. What I like to add on, especially if you're playing in a franchise mode against a lot of CPU opponents, is Gambit a lot of the time. Gambit makes it so that you can't be intercepted by AI defenders. If I had to rank the abilities here, number 1 is going to be Dots, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. Number 2 would be Gambit if you're going against CPU opponents. Otherwise, this goes down in list because users can switch on and still intercept you. And then Run and Gun. Those are the best abilities in my personal opinion, outside of maybe adding on Omaha for the ability to see the defense's coverage that you're going up against, if you can take advantage of that. Some people are not going to be able to utilize that to much effect. Some people will be able to use that to a really good effect. So keep that in mind. That's one that could go either way for me. What I like to put on my player, though, is Dots, because whenever I enter the zone, all passes are thrown with perfect accuracy, and all I have to do is make consecutive passes for 5+ yards in the air. There's nothing you can do better for your quarterback than to automatically achieve perfect accuracy on all of your passes by entering the zone. This is one that everybody should be putting on their quarterback if they have access to do so. Next up, we have our base superstar abilities. Now, this is something to consider with your quarterback. Whether you are an 80 overall, an 85, a 90, a 95, you're going to have a different number of superstar abilities. So here, being an XFactor, being a high overall, I have access to 5 superstar abilities. These things are going to pair differently, and they're going to have different importance depending on what your quarterback looks like. So for a lower overall quarterback that might not have a great throwing animation, might need to get the ball out of their hand quicker, I always like to recommend Quick Draw, because this is going to give you a faster passing animation and allows you to throw essentially better under pressure, get the ball out quicker under pressure. And this is going to be something that pretty much every quarterback is going to have access to if they have a superstar rating. So again, right now, I have the ones on that I like the most, personally speaking. Protected is by far and away one of the best traits you can have on a quarterback, because it's just going to give you better pass blocking, which means it could give you the extra second to get a receiver open, to throw a pass that you otherwise couldn't, and it does actually work. It does hold up your offensive line quite a bit longer in a lot of situations. The next one is going to be a pair of abilities that are of equal importance: Inside Deadeye and Sideline Deadeye. These are going to be utilized so that every pass inside the numbers, except high and low throws, which I don't use that often anyway, and outside of the numbers for Sideline Deadeye, are going to have perfect accuracy. There are some abilities here that have a nuance to them that require your feet to be set to activate these abilities. So for example, Pocket Deadeye is going to give you perfect accuracy on all unpressured throws while their feet are set in the pocket. So keep in mind when you're looking at these abilities, what is going to give you the most benefit for the least cost. So keep in mind that with Pocket Deadeye, it seems like it's good. It seems like it's a base version of Dots, which it kind of is. However, it requires 2 things to happen in order for this to actually work. Number 1, you have to be unpressured, and number 2, you have to have your feet set in the pocket, both of which can be very difficult, because even just minor movements with the left stick with your quarterback in the pocket while they're dropping back is going to prevent them from being quote-unquote feet set within the pocket. It can be more difficult to achieve than you would think, and under pressure is also much wider of a range than you would think. Under pressure can happen from so many different angles, so many different areas, so many different ways. Think about it. There are defensive abilities that allow your defensive linemen to pressure the quarterback from further away without them even technically being shed of a block, without them being off a block, without them being coming after the quarterback. They can pressure the quarterback while being engaged on a block and a couple of yards away. The other side of this is roaming Deadeye, which is going to allow you to have perfect accuracy on all unpressured throws while your feet are set outside of the pocket. Well, consider what that actually means for your quarterback. That seems like a better or a lesser version of run and gun, but again, the problem with that ability ends up being that you have to have your feet set and you have to be unpressured, which if you're rolling outside of the pocket, chances are you're not unpressured, and chances are you're not going to be able to get your feet set completely in time to take advantage of this ability. So that's why sideline and inside Deadeye are what I would consider the two best superstar abilities, period. Nothing is going to surpass inside and sideline Deadeye. These are even banned in a lot of leagues because, again, they give you perfect accuracy on all throws inside the numbers, perfect accuracy on all throw outside of the numbers. There is no caveat to it other than you can't do high-low throws, which most people aren't going to take advantage of regardless. The next one that I like a lot, I mentioned quick draw earlier, one for you to definitely consider on your quarterbacks, but the better version of quick draw that's available to higher overall players is Gunslinger. Passers with this ability have faster passing speed and release the ball quicker. So this does not require you to be under pressure, and it gives you the same benefits as quick draw. Quick draw is available to most quarterbacks. Gunslinger is going to take a higher threshold to be able to access, and so Gunslinger is the better ability, but you definitely want to have it on your quarterback if you have access to it. I would place it just underneath of sideline Deadeye and inside Deadeye, maybe tied alongside of protected, depending on how your team is composed and how you weigh your pass protection versus your passing speed. It could go either way for me. I would maybe go inside Deadeye, sideline Deadeye as 1 and 2, tied up there at the top. And then I would probably go Gunslinger and then protected after that, because I tend to build a good offensive line through the team building process and don't have a whole lot of problems with pressure anyway, but it's going to depend on what you want to do. And then I also personally really like long range Deadeye, because I find a lot of times, even with a high overall quarterback with really high accuracies with these other abilities, that my quarterback is inaccurate when I'm taking deep shots. Whenever I'm just trying to lob one up, my receiver has a cornerback beat deep, and for some reason they either underthrow it or they overthrow it, and it causes us issues. It causes it not to be complete. And when you have a guy open in a certain situation deep like that, you need to be able to convert on it. You need to be able to stretch that defense. You need to be able to expose coverage in order to open up other things. And so long-range Deadeye is perfect for that. It's going to give you perfect accuracy on all deep throws while your feet are set, except high-low throws. Generally speaking, you're going to be able to achieve this. You just have to make sure that you stay set in the pocket. Now, there is that one caveat that your feet have to be set, but we don't have to worry about pressure. I know a lot of times when you are winding up for those deep passes, you're going to be under pressure because you have to wait a little bit longer for those things to develop and open up. So it's nice that we don't have to worry about the pressure aspect of things. We just need to make sure that our feet are set in the pocket as we're throwing those deep passes, and we'll get perfect accuracy on those. The alternative to this ability is lofting Deadeye, which I do also use from time to time, and actually might be better than what we just talked about, because passers with this ability have perfect accuracy on all lob or touch passes except high-low and cross-body throws. So it has no caveat to having your feet set, being under pressure, any of those things. If you are a type of player that wants to run a lot with your quarterback, likes to run read options, which can be really effective in this game, fast break is a good option. Passers with this ability will receive better blocking support on designed quarterback run plays. That can be really useful for you guys. There are a lot of hot route abilities that I don't find particularly useful. Red zone Deadeye can be particularly useful if you struggle in the red zone and you need to get a boost to your accuracy down there. And then Gutsy Scrambler can also be used pretty effectively you're going to be immune to throw penalties caused by defensive pressure when you're on the run, which I have used from time to time, especially when I have an athletic quarterback. And then there's also dashing Deadeye, which is going to give passers perfect accuracy on all throws under 40 yards while running outside of the pocket. And again, other than high-low throws, there is no other exception to this rule that can be used really effectively. And the final abilities that I want to highlight, there are so many more here, but I don't see a ton of value in them personally. The ones that I want to finally highlight are tight out, which is going to improve the catching prowess of tight ends who are open on passing plays, and safety valve, which is going to do the same thing for your running backs. Oftentimes, you just need your players to catch the football, and maybe you have a lower overall tight end, a lower overall running back. Maybe you have a running back that just isn't good at catching. This can make up for some of the inadequacies in your team by increasing the catching capabilities of two very important pass catching positions, so it is worth noting. But those are, in my opinion, the most important abilities for your quarterbacks within Madden 24. If you want to go ahead and take a screenshot of this screen, this is going to show you the symbols for all of the abilities that I consider to be the most important. Personally speaking, above all else, I'm always trying to get inside Deadeye and sideline Deadeye, because that is going to make my life 100 times easier as a quarterback, and I don't have to worry about inaccuracies off of various different things because they're not affected by pressure. It's not affected by feet being set, anything like that. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. Hopefully those of you that have been asking for this video are excited to see this series play out and see all that I have to say about abilities within Madden 24. If you are, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I would like to hear what your opinions are of which abilities you prioritize on quarterbacks within Madden 24. As always, I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a good one.